Welcome to VMblog's VMworld 2020 coverage. Today, we're happy to have with us Tim Woods, the VP of Technology Alliances from FireMon. Thanks for joining us today.
Happy to be here. Thanks, guys.
Welcome.
So let's kick things off, and if you could, just give us a quick overview of the company.
Absolutely. FireMon is we're a security software development company. We've been around for the better part of, oh my gosh, 15, 16 years. So a lot of deep domain expertise that we bring into the engagements and the conversation, but we focus on driving greater security efficiency and visibility into the hybrid enterprises of our clients today.
And as we're here celebrating VMworld, obviously this year has gone digital for obvious reasons. What are your thoughts on these digital trade show events versus the, face-to-face trade shows that we're used to?
Right. Well, it's no replacement, for the personal face-to-face interaction that we once upon a time in a land far, far away we used to enjoy. But I'm encouraged by how well people have embraced virtual meetings, web sessions in general, or video web meetings in general. You hear a lot of people talk about Zoom burnout or exhaustion from the virtual meetings things. That just hasn't been my experience. Both our partners and our customers, they've just been real amenable to meeting and still wanting to connect with their peers on the forums of interest for themselves. So, is it ideal? Probably not, because you miss some of that face-to-face interaction that we had. But hey, it's the vehicle of choice right now, and it's working quite well. And yeah, we're getting a lot of benefit out of them. We've tried to switch even our own, events. We've tried to kind of switch them up a little bit. We've done celebrity shelf type thing and mixology events. We tried to keep it interesting for our clients as we engage with them over virtual session. But all in all, I think it's working quite well.
And I guess kind of going hand in hand with that, and speaking of lack of personal in-person interaction, another major shift that we've been living under these last 6-7 months is the whole notion of work from home. What are your thoughts on, the work from home and how has it changed things at your own company?
That's a great question. At FireMon, our culture is one of just getting things done, focusing on the goals that we've established, and regardless of where we're at, most of us worked remote anyway. For the people that were going into the office every day, I think the transition, we have a absolutely world-class IT team. They made the remote transition very smooth, almost uninterrupted, and yeah, it's been an easy transition for us. Like everybody else, we've embraced web video technology. Specifically, we do a lot of Zooms, and yeah, I mean, everybody is embracing it wholeheartedly, and regardless of where we're at, we're still getting a lot accomplished, probably in some instances, maybe even more. Sometimes, you find yourself logging in and being online, especially for those that had to commute back and forth, no longer have that commute. It actually gives them even more time, to interface with their peers and stuff. I'd be lying if I said we didn't miss the personal interaction. We obviously miss that. You miss seeing your peers in person and working with everybody and collaborating in person. But again, today, web video conferencing is the new vehicle that we have to use, and we've embraced that. And it's been for FireMon, I can honestly say it's been a very smooth transition.
Well, and getting back to your company and the relationship between VMworld and VMware, how do you guys partner with VMware, and what are some of your technologies that you're enhancing through VMware?
Yeah, for VMware, God, when I think VMware or hear VMware, I always think virtual. And of course, I think about virtualization in the cloud and virtualization everywhere. And I've watched, we started supporting, let me back up for just a second. We have been an advanced tier technology alliance partner with VMware for oh, I'm going to say the better part of 5 years, if not almost 6 years. So long-standing, really healthy relationship with them. Their product enjoys the full functionality and the benefit that the FireMon platform has to offer. So all the functionality that we offer, we can bring to bear within the NSX environment as well. So great relationship. It's a continuing growing relationship as they continue to introduce new technologies. We continue to innovate as well. And the marriage is just working really well.
And then I guess maybe if you can go into a little bit more detail about that technology, you know, what you guys are offering, what does it do? And I guess more importantly too, is if you could talk about how it's unique or differentiated.
Absolutely. You know, FireMon, so as I said, we started off 15 years ago, and we've, you know, we had a handful of integrations at that time with vendors that we supported. Today, oh my goodness, we probably have over 70, maybe upwards of 80 different integrations of different types of devices. We're classified as a network security policy management platform. We like to call it an agile network security policy platform, because when we use the term agile, we're really talking about adapting to change as change happens. And as you know, as you move things and as workloads are being moved into the clouds, things can change quite quickly. And everything that we do is real time. So not only do we extend visibility into the cloud, but we're focused on reducing complexity and reducing risk within the organizations as well. We absolutely know beyond a shadow of a doubt, you know, as complexity starts to expand, that complexity gap starts to grow and bad things start to happen. Human error creeps into the equation, additional risk creeps into the equation. And so where we can help reduce that unnecessary complexity that, you know, that introduces itself into the equation over time can only help you have a better security posture. And we apply the same thing to reducing complexity as it relates to compliance. We have a very extensible dynamic compliance engine. I like to say that we try to get ahead of change. I want to be equal to or greater than change, the speed of change. And they say, well, how do you get faster than change? And what I'm talking about there is basically, you know, the difference between being reactive and proactive, meaning that, hey, if I have a proposed change that's getting ready or being prepared to stage to be implemented into, say, a security policy or implemented into our one of our security enforcement points at some point, allow me to leverage the functionality within my platform to analyze that change in advance of it being implemented so that I can head off the bad things before they happen. So yes, we still want to be dynamic. We want to detect change when it happens. We want to be able to answer those questions about change. Who made the change? When did they make the change? Why did they make the change? Did that change have a negative impact to the system? But more importantly, if I can help you get in a proactive stance to say, let me help you analyze that change in the context of the policy that it's destined for in advance, then that puts us in a proactive stance versus a reactive stance. So that's part of it. But yeah, it all starts with extending that visibility. One of the chief things that we hear from our clients today is, I can't see what I need to manage. And we all know, and you've probably heard this, it's hard to secure those things that you can't see, and it's even harder to manage those things that you don't know about. So
great. Well, one thing that we look forward to every year is during VMworld, a lot of companies release new products or updates to their products. Does FireMon have anything recent that you guys have updated in the product that you can share with us?
Yeah, we have we're continually adding extended device support. You know, again, I said traditionally, you know, FireMon started with a very strong focus on enforcement point technologies, firewalls in general, and sometimes you even get cornered into that, and that corner as a firewall management. You know, oh, they're a firewall manager, they're a firewall management company. And yes, that's a big part of what we do, and we definitely apply a lot of value in those arenas. But more importantly, it's not just it's basically anything that has a policy today, right? So as we look at load balancers and switches and routers and SD-WAN, as we look at becoming a playbook within the SOAR technologies, or we look at integrating within the workflows of the ITSM systems today. So we're continually adding new device support on a month in, month out basis to that. So there's new device support coming in that arena. One of the things that I'm most excited about, though, is our continued commitment to a very strong API offering. And I think that's so critically important today because of what it means to the cloud. The cloud is run by APIs today. And whether the customers are using them or not, they're starting to recognize also the importance of a good API in their vendor product offerings. If you want to raise the total value of your combined security solutions, you need to be able to exchange information quite readily, enrich information between those solutions that you own. So one of the biggest things that's coming is we already have a robust API. Probably 90% of our functionality in the FireMon security management platform is exposed via the API, which makes our integrations quite easy. But also, we're offering now headless APIs as part of our security orchestration piece, meaning that I don't have to rely on one piece in order to extract or achieve an operation from another piece. So very excited about what's going on there. And I think it represents a significant advancement for our clients today. And it's one of the things they're asking for too. I'd probably close by saying much of the functionality that you see in the FireMon solution platform is a direct result of collaboration and listening to the challenges that our customers are faced with on a day in, day out basis.
And all that sounds great. I'm hoping, are you able to give us some kind of a quick demo or show us what the product looks like?
Absolutely. Let me see here if I can share my screen with you right quick. So I'll make this very brief. I'll run through just a couple of key tenets of the product. I mean, we could sit here and talk about this for a couple of hours, but we don't have that much time. So what you're seeing here is the main security dashboard of the security management platform. So you see here some of the key security metrics at the top. You know, this is all the devices here, and this is a demo. This is obviously a demo environment. It's not a production environment. The names have changed to protect the innocent. But you can see here some of the key security metrics at the top here. I can look at the total volume of unused rules within my environment. And even though this is a development environment, and of course we've inserted a lot of unused rules in here, it's not uncommon for us to find 40–50% unused rules in the legacy policies. And when I say legacy, I use that term very loosely because a 3-year-old policy or 4-year-old enforcement point can have a lot of legacy rule, can have a lot of bloat in it very quickly. But just identifying this so that we can get rid of that unnecessary complexity. This is, you know, when I talk about unnecessary complexity, this is one of the very things that I'm talking about is unused rules that creep in. They come in, but they never go out. So being able to look at that. But if I scroll down here, you can see additional charts and graphics and things like that. And these are, again, these are all key security pieces of metric information. And the neat thing about this is anything that you see here on your screen, you can very quickly dive into the underlying details that's driving that chart or driving that information. So for example here, if I wanted to look at my control failures, right now I'm looking at all the rules across my entire real estate. But if I wanted to look at just those rules that are contributing to critical control failures, I could just very simply just click on this little pie piece here and it's going to pull those up. And here are those rules. And here's one you can see where it's actually tagged in the metadata where it has a critical control failure. If I wanted to learn what that control failure was, again, I would just simply click on it and I can see that this particular rule is allowing an any service from the DMZ to the internal networks. This is not allowed in our environment. This is against our security policy, so it's deemed a critical failure. So you can kind of see where that goes. But again, very quickly with just a couple of clicks, you can find that information. Everything is laid out. If I click on policy, I can see the underlying rules of areas that I can click on here within policy, within compliance, within change. Topology, I'll highlight that for you in just a second. But let's say I wanted to bring up something that was VMware related. I want to look at something that maybe is related to NSX, and I want to look at the policies and any critical control failures or any control failures that I might have there. One of the things that we have at the top bar up there is called our Omni Search bar. And the Omni Search basically allows us to look for anything that's contained within our policy database. So everything's pre-indexed. We use Elasticsearch. It's very quick. But let's just say I type, let's say NSW, probably not, NSX. How about that? Here's NSX. I'll click on the NSX manager. Very quickly, it brings up an edge gateway that I can click on here. If I want to click on the distributed firewall, I would just find that. Within the cluster itself, I can see all the interfaces here, and I can zoom in on those to get greater detail if I want. But in this case, I want to just go and look at the rules. So I can come over here, click on that, and I can see all the rules that are here within this particular policy, within this particular gateway that I'm looking at, this particular firewall. Now, if I wanted to get further, if I wanted to introduce some granularity to this, like for instance, I would like to look at only those rules that have, let's see here, let's look at my failed controls, critical. Let's apply that filter. I can see that I have one rule that has a critical failed control. Very quickly, I can click on that to see what that critical failure is. Again, it's a DMZ service allowed to the internal, but it's just that quick for me being able to find that. Now, what's even more interesting, if I wanted to do that same thing over here, let's say I wanted to export that data. So when I was talking about the APIs and how easy it is and our commitment and our strength to an API, we have something embedded in our product called an SIQL language. But you don't have to know anything about the syntax of the security information query language. Very simply, let's say I went over here to policy and I looked at my policy dashboard. More importantly, let's go look at all of our security rules across the entire environment. Again, I only want to look at those things that have a critical control failure. So I would again build my filter block, come down here and I would find my failed controls. I'd hit critical, I'd hit apply, and now then I have a list of the list is 347 failed controls that have critical control failures. But what if I wanted to export that data via my API? This filter that I just built used SIQL. However, if I want to expose that query, I would just click on the Advanced tab, and now you can actually see what that query looks like here. If I double click on this, I could actually copy this. I could run over here to my Swagger interface by going into my admin screen and looking at my help section. You can see where I actually have my my APIs embedded in the product itself. So we use the Swagger interface. If you're familiar with Swagger or the Open API 2.0 standard, all of our APIs are exposed, and the different products are exposed within the Swagger interface on the platform itself. So a DevOps person gets really excited about this for somebody that's wanting to extract information, because now I can go down here and let's say I'm going to find that SIQL query here call. I'm actually using the secure rule page search in the get. It's one of my gets. There's several SIQL things I can do. There's a lot of things here, but the one I'm interested in right here is I want to get that same information that I just showed you in my filter list. So I click on this. No, that's device, sorry. Let's back up, secure rule. And I've already got it pasted in here, but I'll paste it again. I just paste it into here, and you can see down here where we have, not only do we give you examples of how to use this particular API, but you can actually try it out here. So then I could click on this and you can see what the resulting JSON payload would look like here within that. So I can see that 347 number. Obviously we're not going to be able to discern this, but this is the language of API, right? This is the language, the JSON payload that I would be able to export to somebody else or export to another system for usability. And it's just that easy to get data out of the system. The last couple of things I'll show you, if I wanted to look at compliance, I can look at the compliance dashboard. And again, these are going to be things that I'm looking at: control failures, accumulated control failures, anything, compliance trends along the way, compliance trending. We also have the concept of something called a security concern index, which is basically gives you a baseline to look at. Once we understand the environment and what's going on, we now have a number that we can kind of chart, you know, improvement, either improvement or degradation, one way or the other, because we can kind of see if our efforts are going forward or backwards, because now we have a baseline, you know, to kind of work against. You know, where am I at today? Where do I want to get tomorrow? And how do I stay there? So that's kind of what the security index is going to show you. For change, I can come over here to the change dashboard. Let's say, for example, let's go back to my VMware device. Let's go back to my manager. I can pull that up. I can go back to my firewall here. And I want to look at change here. So I want to look at the change dashboard relative to this particular device. I can come down here and I can see all the changes that have been made. I can click on this particular, we'll just look at the most recent one. And just visually here, I can see that there's been a couple of objects that I've added here. Because I see the green plus mark, that means that's something that's been added. So it could either be an add, a deletion, or a modify, but very quickly I can see somebody's added these objects here, and I can see what those particular objects are. If I want to get more detail about those objects, I would click on the object tab here, and I can see more detail about the change of that object as well. So again, very quick to get to the information. Let's look at topology. If I wanted to look at the actual network topology map, not for this device, let's go back and look at the entire device. Let's go look at the entire enchilada. So we'll go back to the domain home. I'll go back to the topology map. This will be a little bit of eye chart for our users here. And obviously in a large enterprise network, it's going to look like, you know, little ants out there. But very quickly, again, I can kind of just type in, let's say, where is my NSX devices here? And it'll very quickly show me where those are on the map. And from here, I could actually click on the device itself and take me back to the dashboard, or I could take me back to a policy view if I wanted to very quickly. So again, I can go to where I want to go, where I need to be very quickly with just a couple of clicks, you know, either within the map. By the way, the topology map is let me back up here is automatically generated. This is not something that is handcrafted. This is automatically generated by so every time that we analyze a change, we extract all the route details. We understand next hop and down the default gateways and uplinks and downlinks and things like that. So we automatically generate that based off of the data that we extract once we do a retrieval based around a real-time detection of change. So it's always up to date also, because as I said earlier, everything that we do is real-time. So anytime that a change happens, we always make a reflection to the network topology depiction as well, which is real nice. The last thing I'll show or just kind of glance over here is we also have a risk section. So one of the abilities that we have is the ability to actually import vulnerability scan data and overlay that vulnerability scan data onto the policies. So then we can do a bunch of very interesting things. We can overlay that vulnerability scan data onto the actual policies themselves, and that allows us to pull out risky rules that may be allowing access to a known vulnerability. And then if I needed to go check that, let's say, for example, I could go back to the topology. God, how I would have liked to have had this back in my firewall administration days. And let's say that I wanted to get back into that NSX section there. But let's say for example here that I wanted to do an access path analysis across my network topology. So in this case, I want to see, I know for a fact from this network, so I want to go from this network, which is what I clicked on, and I'm going to go out the internet, and I want to see if I can actually pass 443. Uh-oh. Please. I want to pass 443 and see if my policy actually allows that. So I'm going to run that. And I can see here that the policy actually stopped it right here. And I can see where it stopped it. Now we don't allow 443, but we do allow 843. So let's see if 843 is allowed. So I'll simply just change that. I'll run it. And I can see, yep, I can see that that was allowed to pass. And I can see, so imagine rather than doing a finger, a telnet, a trace route, when I'm trying to identify, you know, yes, the business comes in and makes a request for a policy change. I need to understand where to position that policy change, you know, what enforcement point is effective, what's going to be in scope. It can take a lot of time just to figure out from the topology environment itself what I need to actually touch in order to honor a business request. And of course, the longer it takes me to do that, the more frustrated the business gets with me. So being able to do that very quickly and very responsibly is a big value add. So I'll stop it right there. Hope that gives our audience a pretty good overview of what the FireMon security platform is capable of. Again, we could have gone into a greater detail. Love to spend time with, if somebody sees something there that thinks it would help them in one of their challenges of complexity or lack of visibility or better compliance around the heterogeneity of their hybrid environment, we'd love to talk to them directly.
Well, thanks for that demo. Where can folks go if they want to find out more information about FireMon and some of the things you talked about today in your demo?
Right to the FireMon website. You can go to firemon.com, go to the resource section. There's a click demo section. I think a little helpful digital assistant will pop up and guide you as well if you need some assistance there. But yeah, www.firemon.com, and you can find all the information that you need on the product.
Great. Well, thanks for being with us today, and hope you have a great rest of your day.
It's been my pleasure, guys. Enjoy the rest of the virtual conference. Appreciate talking to you today.
You too. Thanks for your time.
I hope you enjoyed this video. If you want to see more from our cloud technology partners, please hit the like button and subscribe. And if you want to get notified next time we post a video, please hit the subscribe and the bell notification. Very important.